start. Advocate Lotz, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Chairperson. Myself and Mr. Jones will sort of interchangeably lead this particular evidence. And perhaps I will begin then. Mr. Naidu, we have noted your name for the record, and perhaps maybe the first question from me to you would just be to just check from you as to where do you live and what area do you sort of work in?
Okay, I live in Phoenix. I am from a security company, and my background's all about security, my security interaction that took place during the unrest.
Okay. And are you willing to share with us the name of the security company that you work for or with?
Yes, I used to work for a company called KZN VIP Protection Services.
Okay, and you say used to. So when did you, for how long have you been working for them, and when did you end your working relationship with KZN VIP?
Okay, I am the founder of KZN VIP Protection Services, and we've been open since the inception in 2005, and I stepped down from my position in, or very shortly after the unrest.
Okay, so you stepped down shortly after the unrest.
That is correct.
So the stepping down part, does that mean that you are now no longer working and no longer having any relationship with the said company?
If I may explain that I've stepped down, is that I am only called when the situation is so grave and no one else has the expertise that I have, then only I will assist KZN VIP Protection Services or any other security company, and even the police.
Okay, so you are you what is termed as a consultant or special advisor?
Well, yes, you can say that.
Okay, you mentioned that you also assist the police, and how do you do so?
Well, in my evidence, I'll bring up all of that. The South African police is very thin on the ground. We all know that. We all know the capabilities of the South African police. And the South African police have always called upon security companies to assist whenever they need it. Okay. And at KZN VIP, we're a specialized company over and above, and we have what is called a very similar unit to the South African police, or the public order policing unit.
Okay, so you're saying that within KZN VIP there is a unit that is similar to that of the public order?
That is correct.
So the advice that you provide to South African police services, is it a formal relationship or is it ad hoc? Or how is it, how do you provide that advice?
Okay, so we, the security companies in South Africa generally work as force multipliers to assist the police, and that's where we come in.
Okay, perhaps in simpler terms, so that we are clear, what are you saying? Are you saying that as force multipliers, security companies, including your role and expertise, you sort of provide that assistance to police in terms of advice? I'm just trying to understand.
Okay.
Perhaps maybe if you could just put it in a much more simpler way for us to understand and for the panel to understand.
Okay, so advice I give to security companies and communities, force multipliers for the police or to the police, it's a very simple thing. So if the police are going or holding a roadblock and they only have 2 members or 3 members in one vehicle, they will call upon security companies across the board and say, listen, please come help us and show a bit of visibility. And security companies per se, it's not restricted to KZN and VIP, and this is going throughout the country, that they will come aboard and they will probably give you extra 20, 30 men, give you extra 5, 6 vehicles, and assist. So just by them being in the background, they help the police. When they go on big raids, etc., security companies are generally called and act more of a backup service to the police in case the police get attacked, etc. They don't physically get involved if we use a roadblock, for example, security companies don't get involved in the stopping, searching of those vehicles, members, or anything of that sort. All they do is they just stand there, create that heavy security presence, and then give the police and the community a sense of being secured. And then if criminals come, the criminals won't want to really take a chance because they can see they've got few police officers and a lot of security personnel.
Okay. Is it my understanding that in terms of what you're saying, is that such support that is provided by security companies generally, those security companies would not then assume the role and functions of the police?
Exactly. We cannot, we are security companies. We don't have those powers that the South African police have. We just, like I said, the terminology used is force multipliers.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'd like us to come back to this at a later stage because I think what I was really getting to or at was to really just understand your background, and I think you've somewhat elaborated on that, specifically in as far as your role and expertise within the security sector. There are a number of questions that we would like to raise at a later stage, but I want to come back to where I was at, and that is having understood that you are from Phoenix. Is the company that you're associated with specifically located and running its business within the Phoenix area?
I'm going to say the Phoenix and surrounding areas, but our offices are based in Phoenix.
Okay, Phoenix and surrounding areas. Any examples you'd wish to share, which areas you may probably have footprint on?
Okay, so we have a footprint in Phoenix, and I say the surrounding areas will be Schlangenrocks, Verulam, Ottawa, and then if we go down south, we're going to go to places like Newlands, as far as Newlands. However, we have security services throughout, or the majority in KZN, where we have a special unit that, like I said, we trained very similar to public order policing, and if there are strikes, etc., we go throughout the country.
Okay, and obviously, or put differently, with that, it means that you do have that capacity and experience over the years in as far as the public order or working with gatherings and the like?
Yes, I'm an ex-policeman, and I joined the police in 1980, and I left in 1998, towards the latter part of my police career. I was in the public order policing, or the riot unit at that time. That's what it was called. Yeah, so I have vast experience in riots, riot control, etc.
Okay. Now, no, thank you for that, Mr. Naidu. I just want to check before I proceed as well. With regards to the Phoenix area, and Phoenix and surrounding areas, the company that you're associated with, in as far as its clientele, could you just give us a bit of a breakdown or some information about who do you service, perhaps even some numbers if you do have? Is it just purely a business, or is it business and private individuals?
Yes, so KZN VIP's clientele base is across the board, across the racial divide. You know, we have the majority being so-called South African Indians, and we have a lot of people from the black community as well, black Africans. We also have white clientele, colored. So yes, it's across the racial groups, so to speak.
Okay. And just for further understanding, is it both business and private?
That is correct. We have business clientele and we have clientele, residential clientele, and I think, and I stand to be corrected, but we have about 6,500 alarm monitoring clients, predominantly in the Phoenix area.
6,500, you say?
Approximately, yes.
Approximately.
Excellent relationship with our community in that we formed a Facebook page and group, and on the group presently we have approximately over 63,000 people that follow us. And these, and if we have 6,500 clients, we're looking at about 10% of them are probably my clients. The other people follow us because we created a crime alert system to notify people of crime that's taking place. We also sometimes post our successes. The whole purpose of it is to inform people where crime's taking place, the profile of the criminals that's or that are involved, and the purpose was to ensure that the community takes a stance. Just to give an example, in Phoenix, let's say on the south side, okay, Phoenix has about, I think, over 30 suburbs, and let's use one suburb, let's call it the Clayfield area. So if people break into the houses there, steal cars, get involved in robberies, etc., we will post that. And that generally comes from the community to us saying, listen, this is what is happening. Guys, please be aware, take the necessary precautions, and we probably give a description of the suspect. So if we do that, it becomes an alert system, and the community then takes the necessary actions with the local CPFs, the local street committees, and even the police themselves. You know, sometimes it's amazing. The police will probably see of a crime or hear of a crime first on our Facebook page or group. The sad part is that when our Facebook page called Phoenix Crime Watch was closed down by Facebook after thousands of complaints because people were posting fake news on it, and that became detrimental to the whole thing. And the Facebook policy is that if anything that is horrific and against community so-called standards will be removed. And this was because people discredited us One of them is the Minister of Police, and he did that on national television. And you must remember, he's the minister. People listen to people at the apex of any institution. So, yeah, sadly it was closed down, and it's never been reopened.
Okay, maybe just back to the relationship. You mentioned that you've also worked with CPF, street committees, and SABC. What's been your relationship specifically with regards to the Phoenix and surrounding areas with the CPF?
Well, you know, once upon a time, I served on the Phoenix CPF on the executive committee, and I've since left because this is my personal opinion. I think it was more of a talk shop. I'm a doer. I probably talk a lot, but I prefer getting things done. You know, it's not worth you sit and you have meetings upon meetings upon meetings, and nothing credible gets done on the ground. If we talk too much, then we lose the plot at the end of the day.
Okay, and then with SABC, how would you describe the relationship that
I
company
think
has with
that prior to the unrest, we had what I would call better than an excellent relationship with the South African police. We've always been there to assist them in anything that they required. We've never told them no. I think that goes for a lot of other security companies throughout South Africa, but just particularly us, we've had an excellent relationship with the South African police, with the Metro Police, etc. Until, and I want to say this, after the Minister of Police went on national TV and he demonized us, and he's part and parcel, it seems right now, and that's one of the reasons why I had to step down from the organization, because we are being harassed presently by certain organs of the state. Yeah, so after the unrest and after the minister had made certain public announcements, it seems like we have the plague. Nobody wants to communicate with us, not even the police anymore.
Now, maybe just to zoom into what you've just mentioned now, you say you had quite a good relationship with the police up until the minister demonized. Was it demonizing you as a person or demonizing the company?
I think he demonized the company. He mentioned the security company by name.
All right, maybe could you just elaborate on that? When was that, and what, as far as you can recall, was specifically mentioned?
Yeah, you know, I can't recall the date, but I know it's very shortly after the minister had visited Phoenix and the surrounding areas. He went on national television and he stated the security companies were involved in the shootings, unrest, and we were part of what they call the Phoenix massacre. And where he's got that information from shocks me, because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I'm an ex-policeman, and yes, I will take the full responsibility of the actions of KZN VIP on or during the unrest. But yeah, he went on national television and he said that KZN VIP is one of the security companies that needed to be investigated for the unrest in Phoenix.
Okay. Is that about all that you can recall specifically relating to what perhaps you term as a negative comment by the minister about the company?
Yes, definitely. You know, the mere implication and the tragedy that has taken place during the unrest, especially in Phoenix, I think that the minister's utterances was totally out of context. He should have never made that. He should have waited for the investigation team to do, or the police to have done the investigation before, I'm going to use the word again, demonizing us. It's sad because people started spreading fake news, and there were millions of interactions where somebody had taken my photograph, where they copied and pasted, or I don't know, however they do it, and they put it on Facebook, and they put somebody else's video, somebody else's photograph, and associated with me. And they said, yes, I am the man that is behind the killing of innocent people in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
They were photoshopped. There were also videos made of somebody else carrying a rifle, especially the one with an orange top or a jacket. And they said that was Glenn Naidu. That was not me. So fake news, yes, it really hurt us after that.
Okay. Now, maybe just lastly on that, because we're going to come back. I want us to come back in a few minutes to the issue of any investigations, because you mentioned it as well, to say that perhaps the comments were premature and maybe investigations should have been awaited to unfold and be concluded for any negative connotations or anything that is relating to the unrest. We'll come back to, I want to park that for a second, okay? What I want to really get to for now is the issue of your role as a company, perhaps even yourself, during the unrest. Could you just perhaps maybe just explain to the panel, because we've heard a lot of evidence around what specifically happened on Phoenix Highway. We heard specific evidence about barricades, people being prevented or blocked, people being attacked, assaulted, killed, and so on. I want to just come back to that particular part, because I think you gave us a very broad overview as well about your role in Phoenix as a security company. One then would assume that you had a specific role given what was happening in July. Could you just perhaps take us through what KZN VIP and yourself experienced during the July unrest?
Okay, so if we just have to rewind to just prior to the unrest, or the beginning of the unrest, you must remember there are certain organizations in South Africa that have been overlooked by the South African police and our government. These organizations, in my personal opinion, is a terrorist organization within our society. When I mean a terrorist organization, I'm going to say that the President mentioned the unrest, the July unrest, as an attempted insurrection. What is an attempted insurrection? My opinion, or its fact, it's an attempted coup. It's when they want to overthrow the government. And I think a lot of us, have fought for this government. We cannot let it go to the hands of an organization or a terrorist organization. This has been brewing over years and years and years. The South African police are fully aware of what is happening. The government is fully aware of what is happening. But our government and our defense force or defense departments, if I can include when I say our defense or the organs of the state in respect of our defense mechanisms that we have failed to curb the problem. What am I talking about? It's a very simple thing. I'm going to just touch on one item, and this has happened throughout South Africa. The Moy River Toll Plaza has been hijacked so many times that people, truckers, businesses that go through there, civilians, etc., they've been burning vehicles, they've been looting vehicles, etc., and it's been going on and on. That is just the tip of the iceberg. Why it's being allowed to happen is probably, my guess is as good as yours. Has the state security been compromised? My professional opinion, yes. If you allow crime to fester and the people that are authorized to act and to prevent such offenses allow it to take place, then the criminals become more brazen, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Prior to the July unrest, it happened again. And what I'm talking about has been happening for years and years. If the police don't have the capability, then it sits with our government. What are we doing about it? So yes, in July, the unrest started off at the Moy River or the Moy Plaza area, Moy Toll Plaza area, etc. And then the lackadaisiness of certain departments or our government in failing to curb that, these things are building blocks to a bigger crime. And that is when we had the insurrection. So from there, yes, we heard our ex-president Zuma apparently played a role in this because he was charged. But I am not the one to make the decision. Our courts are there to do it. We have a Department of Justice. But sadly, all this was brewing, and the South African police have come up and said they had no intelligence. That is hogwash. I'm from KZN. We have a special unit that concentrates on these organizations, which I will not mention now. But that organization is so small and so thin. Sadly, they don't have, in my personal opinion, the South African police, well, it's been proven through this insurrection, they don't have the logistics, they don't have the manpower to handle these things. Now, what did we see on TV? What did the world see on television? We saw our country burning down to the ground. Hundreds of thousands of people were looting the place, our business premises. And they were getting closer and closer to the heart of the city of Durban. Most of these places were business industrial parks. That's the economy of our country. That is where we create employment. We give poor people jobs, or we give people jobs. The anarchy that took place has saddened me. I remember, I think it was on that Sunday evening, prior to the unrest, or when the unrest started, I never slept until I came to work or went to the KZN VIP offices on Monday morning. And when I went to the KZN VIP offices, one of my staff members came and approached me, and she had tears in her eyes. She says, "Mr. Naidu, our offices are being flooded with telephone calls, and our control room cannot cope with it. You must remember we have other businesses. We have an ambulance service, VIP Medical and Rescue, also stationed in the same building. We have another security company called KZN VIP Alarms, also stationed there. We have a system in our control room where there's about 4 or 5 telephones. If and we get more telephones, calls coming through, or there's a flood of calls, it automatically diverts and goes to the administration offices. The reason for that is we are an emergency, we call ourselves an emergency response team, whether it is for security or medical. So we handle life-threatening situations. We work very closely with the police. I'm just going to concentrate on Phoenix because this is what it all seems to be around. We have a radio that is kept at one of the offices at SAP Phoenix where we can always contact them should we need their assistance. The reason is, in a previous, if we rewind prior to the unrest, we created a relationship with the South African police where the South African police used to call us when they were short of vehicles and if emergencies took place. You must remember the South African police are not like security companies, if I refer especially to KZN VIP. We don't go sit and take statements and do investigation. So if something urgent or an emergency takes place, there's an armed robbery or there's a shooting, etc., if we are contacted, whether it's from the police or the community, especially the community, we can stand off in under 5 minutes in 99% of our cases. That's the kind of service that we offer to our community and our clients. You see, I said our community and our clients. Because the community of Phoenix and the surrounding areas, and I'm including the so-called Inc. areas, Inanda, Ntuzuma, Kwamashu, if they call us for an emergency, we don't hesitate. The first thing we do is, if it's a criminal issue, we will contact the South African police, which we are forced to do, and I think it's a proper thing to do, because at the end of the day, the South African police is most supreme. Once we inform the South African police, our vehicles are also dispatched. If we stand off before the police, we will tell the police that, listen, we are here, and we give them a SITREP, a situation report of what is happening. Sometimes it might be false. Then we'll tell the police, listen, cancel. We interviewed Mr. X, and Mr. X says, no, it's a false complaint, he didn't call the police, or whatever.
Okay. Mr. Naidu, if I can just come in there. Thanks for just explaining elaborately on that particular role that you play. But perhaps back to the issue that I wanted to focus on. Now, you mentioned that you received a flood of calls on the Monday, and I think we are referring to Monday the 12th. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on Monday, when my teary-eyed staff members approached me and said, Mr. Naidu, please, can you send an urgent message to the community and tell them not to panic? You must remember, we tried to, and I knew on the ground what was happening. I was on the ground. And we tried contacting the South African police in almost every police station that surrounds us, including 10111. The lines were, I'm going to use the term, blocked. When I say blocked, we couldn't get through. You know, we couldn't. Now, the people that we rely on most is the South African police, and we failed to get through to them. Now, when people start calling us, and that's a general norm in Phoenix, that the people call us as a security company instead of calling the police because of our reaction times. But yeah, so when I received this message, and I told my staff member, I told her, I said, you know what? How do we send a message out to the people? And they said, Mr. Naidu, because you must remember at that time I had not slept for a few days. I was tired. You can't also think very well when you don't sleep for a few days. And we've been working under very heavy pressure. And we're seeing our country burn. And I asked her, I said, how do we do it? And then she said, no, Mr. Naidu, I'll video you. And okay, first I said, okay, send the message out on Facebook. Well, that was a suggestion to and from. I said, okay, go type it out and just send it. And I gave them my telephone to do it. And they said, no, Mr. Naidu, it's not going to help. I think you need to go and speak to the people. And I said, how do I speak to the people? And she said, no, listen, I'll video you, and then we will send it. So I gave her my telephone, she videoed it, and she put it on Facebook. And I've sent you guys the video this morning.
And Mr. Naidu, just to be more accurate, the video, yes, you did share the video, and we'll share the same with the panel as well.
Thank you.
That video that you are talking about was shared on the Facebook page that you spoke about earlier?
Yeah.
Or what different ones? It was the same?
I think it was, I'm not really sure where they put it on, but I know it was on Facebook, whether it was on the group or the page.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, thank you for that. We do have that video which we are still to view.
Yeah.
And also to share with the panel, because the panel will have to see that as well. Now, I think the context is becoming clear. You are obviously, you indicated that you couldn't get through to the police, and your clientele and the community is now calling your offices, and you are receiving a flood of calls. You then decide to compose the video, which video was then shared. Could you just maybe very briefly just indicate to us as to what sort of message were you putting out there in as far as that video was concerned?
Okay, so what was the reason I made the video was, you must remember we received, what messages were we getting? When I say we, I'm talking about us as a security company.
Sorry, Mr. Nadi, if you could just pull the mic closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what messages were we getting? When I say we, I'm talking about us as a security company, us as a community. Because, okay, so the messages that were coming, listen, Phoenix is going to be attacked. And the intention was to burn and to loot the business premises, as well as to burn and loot the houses. This information originally started, you must remember Phoenix employs a lot of people from Kwamashu, Inanda, to Zuma, Bambai, and the other neighboring areas. So information was coming from our home assistant saying, listen, the word is out that, listen, let's go now and attack Phoenix. And I don't think I sent you guys a video that was also made by the mayor of Durban, Mayor Khulisi Kaunda. So yes, the information was going, let's go burn, loot the houses and the business premises. This was a direct, this information was given to people that were credible. When I say credible, and people that we trusted most. You must remember those people that work in our houses as home assistants, our gardeners, the building contractors, the painters, etc. We trust these people with our lives. We have such a good relationship that we allow them into our houses and into the privacy of our lives. These are the people that started to send messages. And yes, thousands of them were gathering in places like Inanda, Kwamashu, Bambai, Amauti, Zwelisha. These are the areas that are closest and neighboring Phoenix. Yes, they wanted to loot. Yes, they did loot. And the places that were targeted were places that had food and alcohol.
Okay. Maybe just a pause there, Mr. Naidoo. I'm going
Yeah.
to come back to that because I really want us to contextualize. I think the question really for me with regards to the video that you subsequently shared, you indicated that the video was shared because of information that was coming to you. You are receiving calls, there's panic, you can't get to the police. You didn't decide to compose a video, which video is now shared on Facebook. And perhaps very briefly, in essence, what message were you putting out there on Facebook in that video?
Okay, so as a security company, I thought it was my responsibility to prevent people from being killed and the area that we live in, to prevent it from being looted. I asked the community, and I've pleaded to them. I told them, surround Phoenix and barricade it. And protect yourselves, your family, your lives, your property, and do whatever is necessary. You must remember that I come from a security background, and being an ex-policeman, I expected everybody to do so legally. I know that when I was a member of the Phoenix Community Police Forum, I went down on the streets myself. We educated and we taught people on how to protect, how to create security forums, how to create forums that will help the community, street by street. So, in an emergency, okay, if you guys don't know, Phoenix has a very, very high crime rate. We also have a lot of violent crimes. There's also a huge drug addiction problem. So the community was taught how to defend themselves in the days when I was a member of the Community Police Forum. I subsequently quit because, like I said, I'm more of a doer than a talker. We cannot keep on talking and not doing things. And I entrusted that responsibilities with the other members of the present Community Police Forum, and I expected that if I send the mobilization order, or I can't say a mobilization order, a mobilization request to tell people to defend themselves and their property, this is within our constitutional right.
Okay, but just to get straight into
Yeah.
right on that, because we're still on the message, and
Okay.
that's the purpose of the message, and you are saying that you expected that such barricades protection will be in the confines of the law, right? Is that what you are saying?
Yeah, that is correct. So what did I expect to see? I expected to see Community Police Forum members go barricade the entrance of Phoenix. I expected to see people in reflective jackets, some kind of uniformity that can clearly define an ordinary man to a Community Police Forum member. You know, in my video, I've asked even law enforcement officers or anybody that wanted to help, just please help us. Because there is a video made by the mayor that when we do have time or during a recess, that I'll probably share with you guys, where the mayor clearly states that they must burn, loot, and kill Indians and whites. So if the mayor got this and the mayor made that announcement on television, that adds credibility to what I'm saying. You must remember, the mayor got that information from people down on the ground. And I am saying that if he got that information from people down on the ground, then the residents of Phoenix had the same information. So yes, I told people to mobilize, but unfortunately what really happened in Phoenix is not what I expected to see, because almost every single street had bricks, burning tires, debris, poles, trees, you name it. People went ahead and did that. So yeah.
And then maybe just lastly on that, the video aspect, your video, the one that was calling for the sort of legal protection of the area. Did you expressly, I know we're still going to view the video, but as far as you can recall, did you expressly mention anything in relation to the legal protection of property, and perhaps any warnings in as far as taking law into one's own hands, etc.?
Well, I didn't use the word legal. I don't think I used the word legal. But listen, when you talk, this is what you expect. We're human beings, we're not animals. If I tell you to do something, I expect you to conform with the rules and regulations that governs this country. I don't expect you to go there and start killing people unnecessarily or doing anything criminal. Let's put it that way.
Okay. No, that's fine. And we'll come back to because you've mentioned the video of the mayor. And
yeah.
You will share that with us as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I hope to share it with you guys as soon as I can find it. Sorry, I'm not that technologically advanced. I have to look for it. But I'm hoping that somebody from my office can come and help me as soon as possible. Yeah, I will share that with you.
Okay, thank you for that. Now back to the barricades. You then realize that these barricades are put up, tires are burning, and all sorts of things are sort of, maybe could you just explain to us in as far as what role did you play? And perhaps even your company. The message has gone out. People do react to that message, and perhaps there's other information being shared across the board. As we know that the situation was a bit volatile, a lot was happening. Now, you are in Phoenix, you are in your office at that time.
Yeah.
Now, what happens thereafter? When did you realize, or when did you see these barricades? Could you give us an example of, did you see all of them? Was it a barricade close by to your offices? Could you just maybe give us more insight of a particular barricade? And perhaps what was your impression, having sent a video, and also now having seen the barricade, and anything else that you may wish to share with us relating to the barricades?
Okay, so what happened in Phoenix was, and this is not restricted to Phoenix only, this is, I think, happened in the whole of KZN and also other parts of the country. That video went viral and there were millions of people that saw it. Even a lot of expats as well. Because then I started to receive telephone calls, and eventually I couldn't handle all the telephone calls myself, and I had to get somebody else to answer my phone. And yes, Phoenix did barricade itself. If you go into the history of Phoenix, the community of Phoenix, you must remember, and there's a lot of jokes being said about especially Indians. The South African Indians are weak, they soft, etc. But only the police will tell you that inside Phoenix, how violent it is by the abuse of alcohol and drugs. Now, we come back to the barricades. What did I see? Almost every entrance of Phoenix was barricaded. Almost every street on the inside was barricaded. We had altercations with groups of people that manned these barricades, where they even obstructed us as KZN VIP. I was a personal victim of that. We had our vehicles damaged, where we were helping people with our ambulance services and trying to respond to the many complaints that were coming through our offices. And that's an obligation that we have as a security company to our clients. We couldn't go fast enough because we had to avoid these barricades, drive on pavements, etc. Our vehicles were damaged. We had one of our security vehicles, windscreen shattered, and stones thrown on it, etc. My personal vehicle was also damaged at one of those roadblocks. Yes, we had altercations. We had a lot of altercations with the people in Phoenix. But I understand this.
Just some insight. What was being said? I mean, if there were altercations, was there exchange of words? Were you trying to intervene, to give warnings, to advise? And what was the reaction to some of the things that you are perhaps saying? I'm trying to understand the altercation. If you could just break down and give us an example, because you say there was a number of these.
Yeah. So the police also encountered the same issues that we had. And I think this boils down from the insecurity of the people, of the community, saying, hey, listen, man, we're phoning the police, we don't see the police, we need help. And these are very, very scared people. If what we saw on television and what everybody saw, or the whole world saw, listen, they are burning, looting, and it was very typical of a war zone. Now, when you have people frightened, and you must remember, a lot of us have worked almost all our lives for what we own, what we build, and every one of us holds our family dearest to us. When you see these attacks taking place on television, broadcasted over a couple of days, and then you know you're going to be a victim, you will do everything in your power to defend yourself and to look after those that you love most. So that's what, and I understand the fear of the people because I saw it myself personally, you know, and we tried our best to try and reassure the people. But you must remember, who am I? I'm just a security company. People needed to see the police. The absence of our counselors. The CPF, I only saw one group of CPF members in reflective vests, and I could identify them from a mile away, you know, and that was in the Palmview area. Otherwise, I did not see anybody with reflective vests. So who do you identify, or how do you identify? People were very, very scared. Some, a lot of women, were already packing the bags, bundling the children into the cars, putting in baby food, etc., and ready to flee Phoenix. Right? So had this attack, yes, Phoenix was attacked. There was one shopping center in West Ham that was totally looted. We were there. But you must remember, we can only do so much. It is not our job as security companies to do public order policing. That responsibility is with our South African government. So yes, people were very, very scared, and they were scared with their lives. So I understand why I had altercations with people on the road.
Okay. Anything else of interest that happened during your, whilst you're passing through the barricades? Did you witness any assaults, any I know that you were a victim of damage to your vehicle and that of the company as well, as you've mentioned. But did you see any other victims? Did you assist anyone? Whilst
Yeah.
you were patrolling or whilst you were going into those barricades?
Yes, so some CPF members and some of the street committees that I built up more than 10 years ago, almost a decade ago, contacted me. And they said, Mr. Naidu, we have a really serious problem here. We have a couple people assaulted and injured, and these were mostly black African people. And they asked us for help. And we sent a whole convoy of security vehicles where we could to help them. We took them to the clinics, to the hospitals, to the police station. We even took some of the people outside the borders of Phoenix. If they lived in Bombay, we took them into Bombay, we took them into Zuma, Kwamashu, etc. And we did this because we understood that, yes, lawlessness or vigilantism became a trend. It's a very sad thing, but I understand, and you must remember, this was all provoked by fake news. If somebody says and points out, hey, that guy is a criminal, or he tried to burn my house, even if he didn't do it, then you'll have hordes of people trying to chase him and do what we'll call, this rewinds back to the days when I was in the police, kangaroo court kind of situation, where people took the laws into their own hands. And yes, we took a lot of people to clinics. Like I said, our ambulances were even rocked once or twice. They were threatened, helping people. But this is all born from the fear that the community had no one else to turn to. They had to defend to themselves.
Okay, and are you a witness to any of the current ongoing criminal cases? Perhaps given the role that you played with regards to the assistance that you gave and so on?
Yes, so we had 3 of our members arrested. That includes me. And all those cases that went to court have subsequently been withdrawn. And these are all very minor offenses. These are all administrative offenses. So there was no real evidence that we did commit any of these offenses intentionally. So yeah, they were withdrawn. We are currently being investigated by SAHRC because the Minister of Police has asked, or the police have asked our company to be investigated, and we have a whole host of charges. If I mention anything about SAHRC, but now that I'm not with KZ and VIP, there is a clause that says where you put the company into where you put SAHRC into disrepute. SAHRC is the regulatory body that governs security companies and security officers. And I'm going to say this. We got no help as a security company from any organs of the state. It'll probably be another charge after I lead evidence here, by me just mentioning that. But I'm not interested, because the truth must be told. And it's sad, we are still being hounded by certain organs of the state. We feel that we are being victimized for what we've done. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Naidu. Chairperson, my colleague will take over, and I may come back later if there's just 1 or 2 issues that I want to come back to.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Naidu, you assert that the charges that were withdrawn are administrative offenses, and these charges, in your view, are petty. Could you give us or describe the charges that were preferred against you?
Okay, so one of the charges, well, the only charge against me was that I was apparently, according to the South African police, carrying a shotgun without a permit.
Okay.
But, like I said, it's an administrative issue. The permit was issued.
Yeah.
And when we went to court and I think there was something about an unlicensed firearm as well. Those are the charges were preferred against our company. And you know what? It's a joke. It is really, really sad. The South African police confiscated the weapons, saying we don't have licenses for them. But those licenses, they accompany firearms. And all those guns are licensed. In a raid on our security company very shortly after the unrest, the police came and took all our firearms away through false pretenses, but we have a bone to pick with them on a different date. At the end of the day, what we are saying is that all our guns were licensed. When we showed the police officers at a later stage and at court that the guns were licensed, the instruction was to return the firearms. Our guns were all taken for ballistics, if I may add, and it came back that they've not been used in any offense, which now absolves us or exonerates our company and our members from ever being involved in the so-called violence or the unrest in Phoenix, as mentioned by the minister.
No, thank you, and that is very helpful. You earlier mentioned that you have been a resident of Phoenix. When did you move to Phoenix? Can you still recall?
Yeah, it's been a very, very long time. Let me think. So I think I moved in Phoenix in the mid-1980s.
And could you explain to the panel which other areas surround Phoenix?
Okay, so if I look at the north, Phoenix is surrounded by Zwelisha, Amauti, Bambai, Kwamashu, Mount Royal, and Mount Moriah. And then if you come down to the east section of the south and the east, Mount Edgecombe, Umhlanga Rocks. Yeah, and the Konobia area, sorry.
Okay. So, if I work in Umhlanga or Mount Edgecombe, and I stay in Inanda or Kwamashu, would I have to pass Phoenix?
Yes, the shortest cut would be to go through Phoenix.
The Phoenix Highway in particular, or are there other roads within Phoenix that we could use to reach Bambai, Zwelisha, Mount Moriah, and the areas you've mentioned?
Okay, so if you look at the shortest cut, will definitely not be Phoenix. It will be through the N2 freeway going around. But yes, a lot of people also go through Phoenix. You must remember we also have a very nice community or communities. Phoenix is not an Indian area. We also have a lot of Black Africans living in our community as well.
And some of these Black Africans who don't stay in Phoenix would use the Phoenix Highway to reach their destination.
Yes, most definitely. You know, even if they wanted to visit the family and friends from Inanda Komashun to Suma, you'd have to travel through Phoenix.
And this question may sound silly, but I'm going somewhere, and I'll ask it. Who owns the roads in Phoenix?
Jeez. I think it belongs to the government or the municipality. There's no particular person can own the road. It's government infrastructure.
And all citizens are allowed to use the road to go wherever they want to, right?
Yes, exactly 100%.
In the video that you mentioned, you talked about, you called for people to set up barricades, correct?
That is correct.
To set up barricades where? On public roads or on private roads?
No, on public roads.
Are members of the public allowed to set up barriers, roadblocks, checkpoints on public roads? As a former police officer and someone who works for this eminent security company, according to your understanding, are you allowed as a private citizen to set up a barrier, a checkpoint, a roadblock on a public road?
Legally, no. But under the circumstances that prevailed, I'm going to say yes.
So in your view, it was it was legal
Yes,
under the circumstances.
that is correct.
Do you understand or are you conversant with the road traffic laws and regulations of South Africa and the Durban Metro, the eThekwini Metro?
Yes, to a certain extent. I don't know every single bylaw. And if you're getting at whether my actions were justified, and I'm going to say this, and I'll say it again. Under the circumstances, in the absence of the people that are paid to protect you, you must remember that any ordinary person would have probably done the same thing that I have said. You know, it's a very simple thing. And I can see where you're going with your questions. You know, if your house is on fire, you'll expect the fire department to come and put it off. So what do? Do you stand and watch your house burn down? Or will you, together with your neighbors, take a hose and do something, fire extinguisher or something to put the fire off? The analogy is almost the same thing. You must remember, there is a business park called the Konobia Business Park that has lost hundreds and hundreds of millions of rands.
So in a nutshell, you are saying your actions were justified.
That is correct.
No, thank you. Do you understand that your conduct was unlawful, was also an infringement of the constitutional right to freedom of movement?
No, I totally disagree with that. I think you must ask yourself the question, and the panel can sit and make a decision. We also have our constitutional right to life. So, at the end of the day, I am saying that people had to defend themselves in the absence of the defense mechanism that is set out by the Constitution. And the President has admitted this.
Yep.
The South African police, the Minister of Police, the commissioners of police, people throughout the world have said at the end of the day, they were absent and they were late. Now, I am just saying, if these attacks did take place in the absence of what had happened, or in the absence of them barricading those roads, I go back to Konobia Business Park, Phoenix Industrial Park, that borders two sides of Phoenix. Konobia was totally looted. There's a chemical factory that's made headlines throughout the world, the environmental one. Yes, those guys called me. Glenn, can you help? I said, I'm sorry, I can't. But I will do everything in my power to ensure that you do get some assistance, knowing that if that chemical factory burnt down, a lot of people could have died. And yes, I informed the South African Police Crime Intelligence Unit about it.
About Konobia.
About Konobia. And what happened? They did nothing about it. What has happened about that? We've got hundreds of millions of rands worth of environmental damage.
Okay.
Now, sorry, I just want to finish.
Sure.
If you see these lootings taking place on television and you see it happening right outside your house, what will you do? You will put in a defensive mechanism to ensure that at the end of the day, that you will do whatever is necessary to look after yourself or look after the well-being of yourself. And I think that is entrenched in our Constitution as well. So we must make sure that at the end of the day, that whatever we do is for the benefit of ourselves in our private capacity.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. These barricades were set up on Phoenix Highway and in other parts of KZN, but I'll confine our discussions or the questions to the events in Phoenix. Were these barricades set up by people to protect their homes, or they were set up to stop people from passing Phoenix with items that were taken from business parks in parts of Durban? Were this, yeah.
I think the aim and the purpose of those barricades was to prevent Phoenix from being attacked and looted. That was the aim of it. You know, you expect at the end of the day people to do what is called the right thing. What is the right thing? You must remember the emotional, psychological state of a person's mind at the end of the day amounts to what happens. You know, I myself, as strong as I am, and I'm not scared to say this out in public, I am receiving psychological and psychiatric treatment for what has happened. Because you must remember, I've come from a place of war previously. I've worked in the riot unit. I've seen children's babies being burnt alive and not able to do anything. And you just have to stand and watch it. All these memories have come back to me. It's come back and it's hurt me very, very badly. I don't sleep at night. You know, my wife's been complaining. She says, I'm now talking in my sleep. So this has been very, very traumatizing for me, my family. And I think it's been traumatizing for everybody in South Africa. It's not only the residents of Phoenix. It's the residents of, it's the citizens of South Africa. We never expected something like this to happen. You know, we trusted our democracy. We have one of the finest constitutions in the world. But if that can't help us and look after us now, you young people have a very, very serious problem. I hope you'll see my age without us going to war.
Okay. No, thank you for that. So, and I'm glad you've disclosed that you are receiving help, and I hope that is also going well. We have also engaged the services of a counselor, should you wish, after the testimony today, to just debrief. Still on the barricades. So they were set up out of fear and not out of a factual background of house-breaking incidents, theft incidents in and around Phoenix related to the unrest.
You know, I'm going to say that when you talk about house breakings, etc., small minor thefts, that wasn't the intention of the barricade. The intention of the barricades were to prevent the residents of Phoenix being attacked.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that, yes, things have gone horribly wrong. As we've heard, a lot of people have died. But I can't be held, or, you know, those people that are responsible for that, they, at the end of the day, they must face justice in their own way.
Yeah. Because of time, please try to answer my questions directly. Barricades were set up. And people who stay in Phoenix and other parts of, on the northern side of Phoenix, could not stock up on basics during the unrest. Do you also appreciate the socio-economic impact of these barricades on women, children, and persons with disabilities, that they could not exercise their freedom of movement to go anywhere, to get petrol, to stock up on necessities?
Well, you know, I think it's a very simple question. I know you guys are not here to answer questions. We're supposed to be doing all that for you. But then, you know, I can answer it with a question. I'll answer your question with a question. If you know if a house is on fire, will you go there, will you go inside for a cup of water? Phoenix was being attacked from all sides. There's evidence of that. People have been killed.
Attacked by who? Because
By
the police,
criminals.
the provincial commissioner of the police is going to appear, and the NPA this afternoon, the National Prosecuting Authority, will be appearing, and they will be able to tell us, because you are saying Phoenix was being attacked, so they will tell us about all these attack incidents that you allude to. So we need to hear from you which attack incidents, because I thought earlier you conceded that the barricades were only set up because of the fake messages and out of fear of attacks and possible looting.
That is
But
true.
now you're saying Phoenix was attacked, so that's new, and maybe you could elaborate.
Okay, so
Who attacked Phoenix? When was Phoenix attacked?
I'm going to say that just now. So yes, Phoenix was attacked. Evidence of that is we have a few residents of Phoenix that were killed. I presumably shot and killed. I know one person was run over with a vehicle. Excuse me. So we had a shopping center, a pharmacy, and a doctor's surgery burnt, robbed, looted in the West Ham area. If I go down to Phoenix Industrial Park, there had been attacks. The one shopping center known as Tapi Center that's on the border of Phoenix and Kwamashu was totally looted and robbed, burnt. Then inside the Phoenix Industrial Park, the same. If I go around to the far end, the Southgate shopping mall was robbed, attacked, looted. And then on the Konobia side, that's with the hundreds of millions of rands, if not about R1 billion worth of stuff,
Sorry, is Konobia located in Phoenix?
right on the border of Phoenix.
Okay.
So it's a street away from the residential area of Phoenix. Now, you must remember when people saw that, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell the commission that when people saw all these institutes being damaged, looted, and attacked, what will people in their normal senses do? People in the normal senses will now set up defense mechanisms so that they themselves, the residential areas, don't get attacked.
Okay. So in setting up these defense mechanisms and in defending their properties, do you agree with the manner in which they went about it? Where if you are an African, you are scrutinized. If you are from another racial group, the same level of scrutiny is not applied to you. If you are African, you get attacked, and some people have died. Not some, 33
People.
Africans died in Phoenix as a result of the barricades in which we were instrumental in them being set up.
I'm going to totally disagree with you. You know, at the end of the day, I told them to put up defense mechanisms, as in roadblocks. I did not tell them to go and kill people. And I expected that to be manned by the Community Police Forum and by the South African police. You must remember, like I said, and I'll go back to the analogy, if your house is on fire, we take a hose pipe and try and put it off. And then what do? We know the fire is probably going to get bigger if we don't put it off. We'll expect the fire department to come there, the professional people to come there. I was one of those that took down barricades. I was one of those people that were attacked together with the police when we were removing barricades. So yes, I'm going to say this. People must be held accountable for what that person did in their own personal capacity. Yes, the Commissioner of Police can come here. Anybody can come out here. There is only one truth, and the truth must be told. They will come here and they will allude to exactly what I've said, that Phoenix was being attacked.
But can you at least see the link between barricades being set up, people being racially profiled, people being attacked, people losing their lives, people, unnecessary hardship being caused for people to access basic food necessities and medical supplies? Can you at least see the link? Because I'm going to pose the same question to the police, that as you are investigating this, here is the nexus. Are you looking at this through the nexus or the link that this is where this started, and as a result of barricades being set up, people lost their lives, people were profiled, people could not exercise their constitutional right, their right to freedom of movement. And the reason I'm asking this is because you said all the cases against you were withdrawn.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, it is unlawful to set up barricades. At the very least, there should be an administrative charge you are facing for setting up the barricades. At the very least. Do you agree?
No, I totally disagree with you. I totally disagree with you. You must remember, I cannot be held accountable for the lawlessness that took place. You need to start at the head. Who started all of these problems? That's number one. You people are here and you're only concentrating on
please don't call us you people.
Oh, sorry.
It's inappropriate. It's dehumanizing. It's delegitimizing. Please, desist
When
from
I say
doing
you
it.
people, I talk about the committee, yeah?
You just say the commission.
Okay, the
Thank you.
commission. I apologize for that. The commission is only talking about the people in Phoenix. Are we saying that those other 330 some odd people that died, their lives mean nothing? It's not important? Is this what this commission is all about?
No, the commission is not about Phoenix. We have invited the public to make submissions. The commission has conducted inspection in locals in Pietermaritzburg. And in Phoenix, the commission has conducted monitoring visits in other areas in Gauteng, in other areas in KZN. And the commission is receiving submissions from across the country in relation to the unrest incidents. It just so happens that most of the evidence that we've heard relates to the events of Phoenix. And I do not want you to venture into diminishing the deaths that occurred in Phoenix.
Okay.
Because we are not only confining this exercise to that. The police will come and tell us about the other cases. But you are here to talk about the events in Phoenix.
In Phoenix?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So you've brought up a few points. You talk about the loss of lives at the barricades. I don't know if lives were lost at those barricades. I don't know if lives were lost elsewhere. I don't know where people died, except for maybe one or two cases.
No, that's helpful.
Sorry?
No, that's helpful because we conducted an inspection in local last week, Friday, and we were informed by one of the witnesses who testified here, Mr. Chris Biela, that there were about 6 barricades from Eastbury Drive, which is at the, close to a Shell garage. There were about 6 barricades. The last barricade was just before the Phoenix police station. And according to the witness, this is where the most violence occurred.
Well,
are you aware of any incidents, violent incidents that happened around the vicinity of the police, where the last barricade was set up?
No, I don't know of any violence that took place as close as you say to the police station. Like I said earlier on, it seems like I've got the plague, or we have the plague, that nobody wants to communicate with us and give us information, although I've requested for this information because we have a fairly good network of informers that can help us with certain incidents. You spoke about racial profiling. So I'm also going to tell you that if criminal elements took over, then it is not my job to, it's my job to prevent it if I could, but it's more the job of the South African police, and they must be held accountable for that. You spoke about racial profiling. I'm going to say one needs to understand, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just talking from my experience.
Yep.
What did we see? We saw black African people being the majority of people that are looting and doing whatever during the unrest. Then the information given to the people, the community of Phoenix, listen, this is what is going to happen to you next. Had that been white people, I think white people would have probably, and if they came to attack Phoenix, white people would have probably finished off in the same situation as those black African people. If it was colored people, or anybody. So when it comes to racial profiling, it is the mindset of a person that sees it. You know, I cannot call you a criminal because you're black. But the mere fact, and you'll see, and this is the truth, you know, if you see a certain person or a group of people associated with a certain organization. Okay, let me put it to you this way. I've spoken about the race thing. If everybody had orange shirts and they were committing these offenses and they used this as some kind of uniform, people who would have probably entered any area, whether it's Phoenix or not, if they all came there with orange shirts with the intention to attack, they will be targeted because of their
The color of the shirt.
physical attributes. You understand what I'm saying?
Mr. Naidu, you
Yeah.
earlier said that Phoenix is not an exclusive Indian area.
Ec-
It's diverse. You have black people, Africans who stay in Phoenix. So, are you insinuating or even suggesting that the people who misappropriated items from business parks, are you suggesting that there were only, the items were only taken by black people?
No.
I mean, I watched the news as well.
Yes.
I saw looted items being recovered in Phoenix
Okay.
from members of the Indian community. So are you saying none of the Indian people in Phoenix, none of the white people in Durban and other parts of the country and looted goods?
No, I am not saying that. And I'll say this again. I said the majority. Or I don't know if I did use the word majority.
you did.
I didn't.
You did, yeah.
Okay. So let's go back again. I've seen Indian people looting. I've seen colored people looting. I've seen white people looting on television. Now,
But which
Racial-
community was disproportionately profiled
sorry.
during the unrest?
You know,
By the so-called community groups.
You know, I'm going to say you this again. The community of Phoenix cannot be held accountable for what criminals have done. We have criminals in every single community. We battle with criminals. You know, the black African community in Phoenix, they love me to bits. I want to say approximately 99%. Why?
And you probably have black friends, right?
A hell of a lot of black friends.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. If this was a racial thing, my personal opinion, why didn't Indians go to predominantly where the black African people lived and attack them? That never happened. People that manned those barricades were Indians, were Africans. They were across the color bar, if we have to use that. You know, we've never, this is not a race thing for me personally. This is about criminality.
Which disproportionately affected black people.
African community.
Yeah.
Yes, Listen, it's
So
there.
it's very interesting that you say this, that even the barricades were meant or these so-called anti-looting patrols were meant also by black people. I think it would also assist if you could provide us with evidence of this, because from what we've heard thus far, some of the witnesses have suggested that most of these community checkpoints, which were set up in the name of stopping the looting, were meant by Indian people.
By mostly Indian people.
Well, they said, I'm not.
This
This is what they said, and it's good that you are sort of rebutting this. But I also want to move from this to go to just on the barricades. I think this will be my last on the barricades. Did the barriers or the barricades that were set up, did they, in your view, firstly, fuel racial tension? Secondly, did they advocate racial profiling?
Not with the barricades. I don't think that advocated racial profiling. I think the racial profiling came from what was seen on television. And I've brought up this, and I've just told the commission, you know, it's an automatic assumption if you see white people with the majority of the looters, and if those white people try to come into Phoenix, and if this defense mechanism was put up, then those white people would have probably been prevented. I'm also going to tell the commission something important that I didn't mention before. Looters got robbed in Phoenix, and the vehicles attacked. I personally saw that. We were escorting looters to the police station.
Got robbed by who? Are you a witness to these cases?
Yes, I am a witness to that. In the presence of the police. And sadly, there was nothing we could do. Because when we had to go through, when we were going to the police station in a convoy of about, I think, 3 security vehicles, 1 police vehicle, and my vehicle, which is unmarked. When we were maneuvering through these barricades, with all the looted stuff in the back of the vehicle, and they were coming out of Konobia, as they stopped, and the people forced us to stop, you know, by standing in front of the vehicles. And then others that were standing alongside came out there and they were looting the vehicles. And then we had to quickly jump out, you know, press our hooters, this, that, etc. And only when the policeman jumped off with his reflective vest and we started to shout and scream, some of the, if you can use the word, robbers, then fled with the stuff. So Phoenix became ungovernable. You must remember the organs of the state that were absent. So there was total chaos, and yes, lawlessness did step in.
Mr. Jones, you were aware of the 11:30 meeting that we have informed the evidence team about. So I would suggest that the witness stands down until, let's say, 12:30.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sorry for the inconvenience, sir, but we
No,
have to stand down now. So we'll stand down until 12:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.